mean, everybody's saying it's such a gift, to have all this time to write, but then how come the only thing I want to do is Google the 1 month where Woody Harrelson and Glenn Close were a couple?
This is what you always do, okay? It's like in college when you would cry and cry into your tater tots about not getting your papers done on time. But somehow you would always get those papers done.
Yeah, but Marnie wrote like half those papers, and now I'm in school for the thing I actually want to do, so shouldn't I actually want to do it?
No, that's not how it works. Nobody likes what they do. Do you think Dakota Fanning wants to be Dakota Fanning?
100%. Being Dakota Fanning is amazing. You get so many free boots.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Girls. We are just two boys watching, reviewing, chatting about HBO's Girls. We are your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And boy, oh boy, the sacrifices we are making for this show right now. We live in Los Angeles. At the time of this recording, where I'm at, it is 111 degrees. No air conditioning on. What's it over you? What's it like over with you, Vance?
I had the air conditioning on all day, so for me it's cool and nice, and I just turned it off. But I don't know.
I just turned mine off.
It's probably like 105 here.
Yeah, we're going to be talking pretty quickly. We're going to be like auctioneers reviewing this episode. I got an ice pack on my back, but you cannot take away from the fact that we care about you all. We're bringing these episodes to you despite all of these sacrifices. So today we are talking about Season 4, Episode 3. Overall, this is Episode 35. The title is Female Author, directed by Jesse Peretz. Written by Sarah Hayward. The original air date is January 25th, 2015, to an audience of 721,000 viewers, 0.721 million. Coming out of this episode, Vance, how you feeling about it?
I feel like there's some stuff we can bring up from last episode. I feel like there's some stuff that's relevant to today. And
yep.
I feel like Jessa really, really sucks on this one.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
So you're going to be up on that high horse today.
Oh, boy, am I.
You're going to be shouting.
Oh, boy, am I.
You're going to be shouting from that ivory tower.
Yes, I am. I'm going to be screaming from it, baby.
Yeah. So let's just dive into this, right?
All right, how we doing it? Characters,
man. Easy. Shoshanna, let's go.
All right, Shoshanna. She's on a job interview. She's nailing the job interview. She's vibing with the lady really hard that's interviewing her. She feels like they could be friends. The lady's like, hey, I just want to let you know that I have to interview the rest of these candidates, but you're a shoo-in. The job is yours if you want it. And Shoshanna was like, oh my God, that's so cool. I was totally thinking that, except I'm probably not going to take this job because I'm using this interview as a practice round, as like a trial interview for something that I really care about. And then the lady that's interviewing her gets really pissed. Understandably,
yeah. And I noticed that Shoshanna has her hair down. She has her interview hair on.
Yeah. She doesn't have like a side bun.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, it's like she's definitely, more professional world dressed for this thing. And it was interesting to see her on the interview. I was like, all right, now we get some real world Shoshanna. And Shoshanna's going to be Shoshanna. She's definitely playing the game. And
Yeah. I mean, it looks like she's going to be successful, but I feel like she needs a bit of failure.
Well, she could be successful, but not a good person. Like, not all successful business people are like good people.
Oh, yeah.
So she's going to be successful, but not likable.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I don't think this lady has enough pull to get her blacklisted for anything. So it's not.
That'd be hilarious if she did.
Yeah.
But I doubt that that's going to happen because it was like an interview for like Ann Taylor Loft or something.
Yeah. For doing jewelry stuff. Yeah.
So that wraps up Shoshanna. She has that one scene, and that's it. She's out in the world interviewing, and she got a job, but she turned it down because she was using it as a trial run, which I feel like that's kind of a good idea, and I've sort of done that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like all my job interviews are trial interviews because they're for jobs I don't want.
Touche, Vance. And so who are we moving on to next?
Do you want to do Marnie or Jessa? Your call.
I say let's do Marnie.
All right.
So Marnie's story starts off with her talking to Ray about how she wishes basically she was not a mistress and trying to justify herself as being like, well, I mean, I'm not really a mistress. And like, I just wish that Desi, the guy that she's hooking up with who has a girlfriend, she's like, I wish that he would see that I'm better than his girlfriend and I'm not a mistress. And like the thing that we have going is really good. And Ray is basically like, you're full of shit. It's not good. You're a mistress 1000%. And you're a homewrecker. And Desi's stupid for not dating you.
And then she makes out with Ray.
Yeah. And then she...
and they obviously like end up having sex or whatever.
Yeah. He's like, I think this guy's a selfish coward because he doesn't see the real gem in front of his eyes, which is you, Marnie.
Yeah. He just lobs up that little bite of fruit
and Marnie,
for her to take it. You know.
Marnie takes the bait immediately and starts making out with Ray.
But she did ask if this was okay, and he did say it's okay, so she got consent.
Yeah, she totally got consent. She's still... dude, she's just a deplorable person.
Well, the next scene with her is worse than this one. But in this one, she says she's not the mistress if she ends up with him.
Yeah, which is every mistress's thought process.
Then she also says, oh, is this the world getting us back for what we did to Shoshanna?
Yeah.
And Ray's like, no, don't bring witchcraft into us being cursed into a logical conversation. And then she's like, you're right. I was way more upset than she ever was.
Yeah, which
like,
is
what?
no way. No way.
And like that isn't
Shoshanna punched or tackled Marnie.
Yeah, but
There's
it's
no
not
way
even,
that Marnie.
It's not even like it was a real, like, there was no drama with her dating Ray. That like went away in an episode. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went away in half of an episode.
Yeah, exactly. Like by the end of that episode, it was over. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, this is also the thing of like, if a guy is cheating on his girlfriend with you and then he leaves his girlfriend for you, the odds of him staying faithful to you, the mistress, now that he's dating you, are pretty fucking low.
Well, you always have to wonder if he's going to do the same thing that you did, you know? Like, but
yeah.
I mean, we'll get to it, but you know, she knows what she's into.
Cheaters are always suspicious of being cheated on because they know the game, you know?
Exactly.
It's like a magician can't go to a magic show because the whole time he's gonna be like, how's he doing this? How's he doing this? Like, what's the deal? Like, cheaters are always paranoid that they're being cheated on. They're always like going through people's phones, and it's just, yeah, it's not gonna be good.
Especially when the scene ends with her hooking up with Ray.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly.
You're like, okay. We didn't bring this up. I was shocked to see her just confiding in Ray, like openly.
Yeah.
Like, well, he's like just wrapping wires. Like, why? What are you doing, Ray?
She comes over and she's like, Ray, the guy I'm fucking that I'm being a mistress for is like not seeing how awesome I am. And Ray's like, well, that guy's stupid. And she's like, oh, you see how awesome I am. Hop on it. Hop on it.
And I'm like, is she awesome, Ray? Like,
yeah.
You've seen her dark side.
Yeah.
Anyway.
She's not.
Anyway.
She sucks. So next scene we see with Marnie, she's at, I guess, a record label, some kind of record executive's office. Mm-hmm. She and Desi are playing one of their demos. And it's getting a good reception. It's a good song, according to all the people that are listening to it. And the whole time the song is playing, Desi is like petting Marnie. He's like caressing her, grabbing her hair, and
yeah. Do you know people in relationships like that are just a touchy-feely couple?
Yes.
Are you a touchy-feely couple person? I don't think
no. I hate I hate it when it's a couple and you know they're a couple, but Desi and Marnie are the front that they're putting up is like, we're just a couple of songwriters. We're not together. Because like the record executives are like, hey, we really like this song. We got to wait until the boss comes back. But like, what's your story? And they're like, oh, we're just a couple of singer-songwriters. But they're like, no, but like, how long have you guys been dating? You guys are together, right? And how's the sex? And Desi puts his foot down and is like, we're not together. I actually have a girlfriend named Clementine, and gives her whole backstory. Well, and then
you go ahead.
Well, then Marnie like kind of freaks out and being like, hey, I'm going to start smoking cigarettes. You guys got cigarettes? I'm being awkward as fuck right now.
Yeah. And it's like, but for Desi, what are you doing caressing her back through the whole meeting?
Exactly. What impression are you going to be putting out there?
Yeah. Like, that's not something you do with like your musical partner. Like, that's not, I'm drawing a blank on like a band, but like you wouldn't go to, and the lead singer and the drummer just like caressing each other's back. And you're like, oh, I guess they're not in a couple. Like you would just assume that's why else are you drawing circles on her back?
Exactly. Why are you touching? I don't know. I'm not a big touchy-feely guy, like even when I'm in a relationship.
Same.
So let alone like if this is supposed to be like kind of a work partnership.
Yeah, that doesn't. And plus, the people at the label, they want to be able to market you guys as a sexy duo, kind of like Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. That's like every time I just see them singing these songs, I think of that. And everyone wanted to be like, oh my God, is Bradley hooking up with Lady Gaga? And I'm like, no, he's an actor. He's good. Yeah. Like everybody wanted that to be something. I'm like, no, they're singing a duet and he's an actor and it's great. Like, it's fine. But here, like, he was like singing to her. He wasn't like rubbing her back during the like award shows or anything, you know, Bradley Cooper. Yeah. So like, this is weird that Desi is doing this, but it's also then weird that Marnie asked for cigarettes as the singer.
Right? Like, you're supposed to protect your voice at all costs.
Yeah, or at least like smoking. Like, and sure, there's singers that smoke and do whatever. Like, yeah, but like in a meeting, can I have one of those?
Can I need to address something. I think Desi is fucking ugly now. Like his haircut that he has right now, along with the beard, it makes his head just look like a perfect circle. And he looks, you remember that story a couple years ago when a lady like painted over some Jesus painting?
You mean the Jesus retouching? Yeah.
Yeah. Desi looks like the retouched Jesus painting.
That's not actually that far off.
Yeah, dude. He looks exactly like that Jesus painting.
Yeah, I do think him with his hair just like medium length or just a little longer gives him more of a, I don't know, it just fills him out a little better.
Yeah, this just looks so bad.
And with that, I'm still getting used to Adam fully shaven too now.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's something weird because I've seen him without facial hair like later, like Adam Driver later, but now it just seems shocking in the show to see him fully shaven, clean shaven.
Agreed. It's like we've seen Star Wars, like we've seen Kylo Ren. He doesn't have a goatee or a mustache or anything, but there's something about him in this show. Maybe it's the color grading or something, but his face just looks empty. You know, there was a scene on The Simpsons where Homer shaves his face and he looks fucking weird, but like it grows back in like 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
But seeing him without it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right.
Yeah, something just feels off.
Yeah. Marnie freaks out. She's kind of can't handle that she's not the main squeeze for Desi. Mm-hmm. And then they go outside and Desi's like, what the fuck was that? Like, why are you acting so weird? And she's like, what? I wasn't acting weird. He's like, yeah, you were. You ruined the meeting. You know, you asked for cigarettes. You don't smoke. She's like, maybe I smoke now. You don't fucking know me.
Yeah, why was she? It was just like she just asked for cigarettes. That was her coping mechanism for what was happening in the meeting, which was also like a great musical thing. Like,
Yeah, it was like their career is moving forward. Like it's important, and like they could get signed to a record label.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I can't deal with this relationship drama. It's like, fucking table that. Put a pin in that. Get that bag.
Yeah. Sign the paperwork and then figure out what you're going to do.
Sign the paperwork. Put out an album. Have it go really well. Break out as a single star because you couldn't handle. And then write a bunch of songs about Desi and how he didn't fucking... Here's your career trajectory, Marnie.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they keep arguing. Desi's like, well, what's your problem? And she's like, you want to know my problem? Sit down and I'll tell you my problem. And then they sit down and Marnie's basically like, I can't be doing this with you if I'm not your girlfriend and it's not working out. And like, if we're just going to be doing music together and I'm not your girlfriend, then I'm not going to sleep with you. And Desi basically goes on a thing of like, you knew what you were getting into. I told you I have a girlfriend. And this whole monogamy thing is so American, like blah, blah, cultural to us. It's like, ugh, I hate that fucking argument.
It's an argument for convenience, but it is an argument that can be valid.
I think when you do that,
when you use it for like that defense, it feels like,
slimy.
I learned this. I read this one thing in a book once, and now I'm like, this is going to be my excuse for being a cheater. You know, like that.
Yeah,
kind of
where
thing.
it's like men are biologically designed to spread their seed.
Well, my argument with that would be if the two people you're in a relationship with think opposite of that, then you shouldn't be doing that. You know, like
exactly.
If you're in an open relationship with 3 people or whatever, and they believe that, then that's fine. But now you have 2 people that don't, Clementine and Marnie.
And you're sneaking behind people's backs and doing it. That's where it's like, dude, slime ball of fucking Jesus painting, Desi.
So I don't really fully agree with him on that. But I will say that Marnie did know what she was getting into.
She did.
Straight away. But she just thinks, oh, I'm the hot one. I can just steal anyone from anyone.
Yeah. And it's because she's got people like Ray feeding her that's why she believes it.
I don't even know. Like, was Ray saying that seriously, or was he saying that just because he knew it could get him some?
I think that Ray was saying it seriously because that's just who he is, and he thinks the world of Marnie for some reason.
Yeah.
For as logical and awesome as I think Ray is, and especially in this episode,
he's a voice of reason. He's a voice of reason.
In another instance, he sucks when it comes to Marnie. Like he's like,
that's his blind spot. Everyone's got a little blind spot, you know.
Yeah, I also hated how Desi, instead of Marnie being like, "I'm cutting you off of sex," he's like, "Are you saying that you have a problem with the intimacy?" Just
I mean, they just made his character so like douchebaggy.
Yeah, he's like a fucking kumbaya. Like, I'm going to Burning Man. I believe in holistic medicine.
He's got the beaded bracelets on his wrists.
Yeah, he believes in the horoscope, and I hate these people. I fucking hate these people.
Well, the thing I don't get, I don't see what Marnie sees in him besides the music. That's the thing I don't like. She's like, I know what I want, and you're not giving it to me. And I'm like, why do you want Desi? Because he's an actor and he's kind of attractive and tall. What is their relationship besides the music?
Here's why: is because he's shown some level of interest in her. That's why.
Yeah. But so is Ray.
Yeah, and she fucking fucked Ray in this episode.
But she doesn't want Ray as much now. I don't know. Now, it's weird. We have a love triangle between Marnie, Ray, and Desi now.
There's a Jewish triangle. There's 2 love triangles. It's Clementine, Desi, and Marnie. Marnie, Desi, and Ray.
Well, Clementine doesn't get a lot of screen time.
I mean, neither does Shoshanna.
Fair enough.
And that
Yeah, that's
pretty much wraps up Marnie.
Yeah.
Basically, Desi was saying, I never said I was going to dump Clementine. And Marnie was like, but I thought that you would. And he was like, no.
Nah, we'll see. We'll see if they get this deal.
Yeah. So, you know what? This was I feel like it was a pretty evenly spaced out episode between all the girls minus Shoshanna.
Well, I mean, you got 4 girls and like...
Each of them gets a little play this episode.
Yeah. I was completely wrong. I said we wouldn't see any Hannah this episode. But we do see very little of Hannah. Like, we do see her, but she's a smaller section of this.
Yeah, I was going to say, should we... I don't know which one we should move on to, because Hannah's story isn't really that big in this one, as opposed to, I feel like,
do you want to save your big Jessa finale for the end?
Yeah, okay. Sure.
All right, let's go to Hannah.
Well, we have to start off with Hannah talking to Jessa on FaceTime or webcam.
Yeah.
She's talking to Jessa about all the free time she has, and she's just like, no one really tells you about this in grad school. You go to class once a week and you just have all this free time, and she doesn't know what to do with it because there's nothing to fucking do in Iowa. And Jessa is fucking doing some butt exercises.
Well, she's like stretching her leg up.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Elijah's in the background getting ready to go to, like, he's got a whole life in this place.
Yeah.
Like,
Elijah has like infinitely more friends in Iowa than Hannah does.
Yeah. Like, he's got so many plans. He's like, I can't do this. I got to do this today. And then we're going to go to this poetry thing tonight. Yeah.
And then Hannah's talking to Jessa, and she's like, have you seen Adam? And Jessa's like, yeah. She's like, is he talking about me? Is he asking about me? And Jessa goes, no. And then Hannah's like, oh, that's cool, I guess, because I haven't even thought about him either. And then Jessa just walks with her bare ass on the webcam. Nice butt. Good butt, Jessa. Very tan-lined.
Was that her butt, or was that a stunt butt?
I don't know. It was a tan-lined butt. And it was a nice butt. Thank you, Jessa. And then Hannah just goes, oh, Jesus Christ, and then shuts the computer, and that's basically it.
We get some Jessa ass, and then we go to the titles.
Yeah. Could be a stunt butt.
Yeah. You never know. You never know with these stunt butts.
Never know, you know? A lot of these girls are averse to the nudity, except
if
for
I had
Hannah.
If I had to bet, I would say that is Jessa's butt, just because she's walking like in see-through panties towards the camera. Like, she just starts taking off all the clothes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, we have seen Jessa's boobs in this, or one of them, at least. We've seen both of them.
We've seen the one, for sure, the good one.
Yeah.
We've seen
the good one or the bad one. We've seen a boob of Jessa's.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be far out of the equation to show the butt. Would you show, if you were on a TV show, would you show your butt, Vance?
Sure, I'd show my butt.
I think I'd show my butt too. All right, we gotta get those bags, baby.
now we just get all these casting calls. Like, that's all it took. We don't even have another episode. We're like, sorry, we've been booked on.
Sorry, we're butt doubles now. That was our butt as Jessa, you know.
Another butt audition. No, not round enough. Yeah, a little too flat.
A little too hairy.
Yeah. Me and you in the same audition for some reason. We're like, you don't know what color butt you want.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know, I'm a white guy and Vance is not a white guy. Look at our fucking podcast artwork.
I think people know. I don't think you have to.
They better fucking know. Email in if you didn't know.
Boys Watching Girls Podcast. That email.
Yeah. I really thought that you were both black. I really thought you were both white.
I was thinking Asian.
Yeah. All right. So Hannah, next. So
I wanted to talk about this opening thing because she's talking about I have all this time to write. I'm in the pre-writing phase, you know. Yeah. And I definitely
she's procrastinating.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that, you know, like, because you have all this time, you know, it's so much time to do it.
Oh yeah, dude! One of my New Year's resolutions was to write a pilot we've been quarantined for fucking 6 months because of coronavirus. I have not typed a single tap of the key of that pilot.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, that is not good. Like, that's that pressure that gets to you where you're like, I have all this time and there's no excuses. And now you just go into, I don't know. Yeah.
And what have I been doing instead of writing a pilot? I've been having a good time chumming it up with my buddy Vance on Boys Watching Girls.
You should probably still write the pilot.
Yeah. I got a lot of time. I got so much time to write that pilot, though.
No, you don't. No, you do not have a lot of time. That's the trick of it all. But no, I got that from Hannah,
Yeah, I mean, it's true though. Like when you have all that time, it's you're not as motivated to like do the shit.
It reminds me of the that Twilight Zone episode where the guy where his glasses breaks his
glasses,
and he's like, "But I've had time now," and all he wanted to do was read, but now I can't see.
Yeah. Why did that remind you of that? That guy seems like he would have utilized the time.
No, but it's just like having, well, it is a little opposite, but it's always just like having time and not being able to do the thing you want to do. Yeah. That's the only way, but yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like we all knew this about Hannah, though. Like, she seems like a crammer procrastinator.
Oh, as most people are. Deadlines are what gets things done.
I mean, especially with creative types.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's that sweating. It's due at midnight. You send it in at 11:59:59.
Yeah. Yep.
So they go to the party that Elijah was talking about, the poetry house party. Elijah's taking pictures of a bunch of people. What?
I was going to say that Hannah has a bike lock now.
Oh, right. Yeah, Hannah has 3 bike locks now.
Yeah.
And she locks them all. And so they go into the party. Elijah's taking pictures of people. Hannah's basically not enjoying the party. She's like, I don't like this. This sucks. Everything sucks here. And Elijah's like, you suck.
And then she starts talking about the kind of like what we were just talking about, the like having all the time to write and not writing. And then they have like this interesting conversation of where Elijah's telling her like, oh, whatever, just don't do it, or like relax for a minute. And she's like, I can't because I'm a writer. I have to write. Or like he tells her that no one likes doing what they do. Like does Dakota Fanning like being Dakota Fanning or something?
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, I used to be a dancer. And now you don't see me what like
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 in it all over the place.
And she's like, how did that feel when you gave it up? And it was like, it was a relief.
It was the biggest relief in the world.
Yeah.
And this conversation is one of the scariest conversations.
Yeah, it is. For creative types. Like, not if you're just, like, doing a really crazy menial job. Not like if you're a waiter and you're like, but I'm always a waiter. When do I give up waiting? Like, if it's something that you, like, care about and you've kind of put your whole life into, and then it's, like, it's either not working out or you don't know if you love it anymore. It's a scary feeling. And I'm sure it's a relief to not do something. Like if you had a day where you're like, I'm going to write today. And then you're like, you know what? I'm not going to write today. That feels so much better to just say, I'm just going to crap this day out and know that you don't have the pressure of doing the thing. But if you say that you're going to write a certain day and then you don't write that day, that whole day spent procrastinating and doing nothing is just stressful. It's not a relaxing
Yeah, and then when you don't do it, it feels like you wasted a day and you're a failure too. But even the conversation before it, like the sentence before it about like nobody likes doing what they do. Like, I am a stand-up comic, but I absolutely hate going to open mics and like, it's hard. Working on your craft that you're passionate about is really fucking hard. And you just wish that it could come easy, but it doesn't, especially if there's loads of comedians. There's loads of writers, there's loads of podcasters, but nobody is as good as we are at reviewing girls. Cause we put in the fucking work. Okay. But yeah, putting in that work, it's not fun. The mindset is like, it's gonna be fun once you get to that certain point, once it starts paying off. But then even then, the goalpost keeps moving.
Yeah, there's never a point where you're fully satisfied with it.
Yeah,
Like,
you always want more and more.
Christopher Nolan right now has made so many great movies, and he's still like, hey, you got to play this movie in the theaters right now.
Yeah.
I still want, like, I'm like, if you're someone else looking at him, you're like, dude, what are you talking about? You got it made. And to him, it's like, no, it's just, everybody has that issue.
And it is even like the scarier thing about it was we both know a guy that was a stand-up comic, and he was a hilarious stand-up comic. He was so great. He was one of my favorite people ever, our buddy Ben. And one day he just decided that he wasn't going to do stand-up anymore. And talking with him about it, it's that exact same conversation that Elijah had, where I was like, how's life without stand-up? He's like, it's so relaxing. It was the best decision I made. It's such a relief. I don't need to worry about it anymore. And it's those conversations as a person that's still actively pursuing it that's like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm putting myself through hell going to these open mics, talking to people that I don't like, listening to a bunch of bum fucking comedians that aren't funny, people that I think aren't funny getting opportunities and getting ahead, and seeing all like this trash, and just, it's depressing as fuck. And to hear when someone quits being like, yeah, I don't need to worry about any of that anymore, and my life is so much better. It's like,
and his life is so much better.
Yeah, his life was great too. Like, he was a great comic, and he could have probably succeeded along the path. Like, he probably could have been at least on one of those like Comedy Central digital things at this point, you know?
It's interesting because stand-ups, like, there's a lot of people that leave that. Stand-up doesn't last long for a lot of people. It's tough. Stand-up is one of, like, I respect stand-up a lot just because I'm more of a situational, like, comedy person. Like, get me in a room with some people and I'm like, I can have fun and like banter and stuff. But like, go on stage, don't know the audience, and then just cranking out jokes and stuff. That's not my strong suit. And I respect people that can do it.
Well, it's also a thing of like, at this point, you know, I've invested 12 and a half years of my life into like, I'm doing stand-up. I've moved cities. I've altered my life to like, this is the dream. And then like, if I were to one day just be like, maybe I'll just quit. Like, like, that's so much time, money, friends. Like, I've sacrificed so much. And, you know, in the back of your head, you're like, there's a little thought of like, this might not fucking work out, but you have to like push that down, you know?
Like, get down there.
Otherwise, it's like, what the fuck am I doing? I've wasted 12 months. I live in the most expensive cities in America. I could own a house in North Carolina right now if I wanted to.
The weird thing is like creative types, when they're not like fully successful at the thing, you have that thought process. It's like, what if I just studied finance or business in school?
Oh, dude.
It's like the weird fantasy of like creatives.
Dude. 2 years ago, I legitimately looked into how to become a plumber. Like, I have a plumber that's a friend that's a plumber, and I was calling him. I was like, "What's the deal with plumbing? Like, do you think I could do it?"
I got a best friend. He's an electrician. Like, he did the like apprenticeship thing for like 5 years, and then he got into it, and like, they got a nice house in Baltimore. He's got 3 kids, and like, I was like, dude, that's great. Like, that's amazing. Like, that just worked out. And I'm like, oh yeah, that seems attainable. That seems doable.
Yeah. I remember
not something I ever had odds of doing. But like, you look at that and you're like, man, so there is other ways.
Dude, back when I had a blog, this was like fucking in college. I wrote, or in New York, like first couple years in New York, and in college I had a blog. And I wrote a blog about how like, I wish my brain was wired differently to want to do that thing. Mm-hmm. Instead of what I want to do. Because what I want to do sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, you know, the first fucking 5 years of those apprenticeships for being a plumber and an electrician, that sucks ass too. Yeah. But there's a track with that where you're like, I see the end, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, like if you Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know that if you do this thing, that this other thing will come. It's not like if I do this, it's still a toss up whether or not they'll need someone to do this job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the thing about, like, I mean, I can speak with stand-up. I can't really necessarily speak with writing. But you can do everything right. You can have it crush a good set, and it still won't matter. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like that's not what they're looking for at the time.
Yeah.
They already have too many of like similar comics, so it's like we can't have another one of you.
Yeah.
And it's just like
there's a lot of hard work that goes into the creative fields, but then there's also that thing of like luck and timing that has to go into someone being successful. And that's the thing you can only prepare for the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the rub, man.
Yeah, and Hannah's dealing with that.
Hannah's dealing with that right now. So she then is starting to have that little bit of doubt creeping in. And then later on, we see her with her writing crew. The team at in her writing class, they're all sitting around in a circle, and they're having debates about, subjects in
Popular
writing
and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, saying like, oh, I hate this cross-pollination of like once you get a blog, you get a book deal, and then when you get a book deal, you get a movie, and it's like it's such bullshit. And Hannah's kind of like, why are we hating on that?
Because it's literally what Lena Dunham did.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Don't hate on me.
Yeah. So Hannah's defending. He's like, why are you hating on that? Like these people are popular and they're successful. That's what people want, That's what the market wants, and who are we to say that that's stupid? And then she talks about how she hates that because she wrote about giving a blowjob, that she's pigeonholed into being like a 50 Shades of Grey writer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, that's not true. Like, listen to all these people that have written about blowjobs. And then D. August mentions a bunch of dude writers, and Hannah's like, see, and what do they all have in common? They're all men. And it's because, like, I'm a woman. When I write about blowjobs, I'm this, romance novel, sex kind of erotic fiction type writer.
Well, and this was the thing I wanted to bring up from, like, our last episode where you brought up that you thought everyone was just, like, praising Diagus because he was the black guy in the class. And when she calls him out for just naming men's name, male authors, he then everyone in the group goes, "Oh, Diagus, she got you there." Like everyone wasn't just That's what I needed. I needed that extra sample size because I didn't think that was exactly what was happening. Because even then they're like, "Well, oh, he was wrong." Because I thought in the last episode what he said about Hannah writing her own stories and calling them fiction or whatever, like putting her own life in it. I thought it was a great point. That's why they kind of agreed with her more so than they were just agreeing with anything he said just because of who he was. And here was a point where they didn't just agree with him or defend him. They all were like, "Ooh, how do you defend that one?" So they do have an open, like they'll critique if it needs to be critiqued. And
Agreed. Yeah, I took the L on that one.
Yeah.
They're not just agreeing with him, but I mean, he must be like the most talented writer in that program, apparently.
Well, I think people just kind of, but she does go on later when she rips everyone like she did at the GQ thing for some reason. She just loves calling writers out for some reason. But she does bring up like, oh, and like everyone, like you're the golden child of the thing, because he's probably I don't know. Like, I don't know exactly. We don't know enough about what he's been writing from that little snippet to say like what's what. But yeah, so she calls everyone out.
Yeah. So as Vance alluded to, I don't know how it transitioned into this, but she just like starts trashing everyone. She has a pointed statement about every single person in her class. And at this point, it's like, how long have you been in class with these people to sum them up so succinctly?
I don't know how much time has passed. Maybe a month, maybe or so. I mean, Elijah's like real comfortable in Iowa. Like he knows everybody.
So she basically trashes Chandra. She says just because you have a exotic name doesn't mean that you are the informed person about all things third world. she said that the Asian guy, I forget his name, she calls him
Chester.
Chester. She says he's a Gaysian that writes all this like really saccharine and schmaltzy kind of stuff. And then there's another lady that I forgot what she said about her. She's something else. Then she said Logan is Miss Doom and Gloom.
Oh, it was Priya.
Yeah,
she
Priya,
says don't write. If you have to write more about Southern jails or something.
Yes,
Southern prisons
yes.
or something like that. Yeah.
If you write about Southern prisons, I'm going to murder you and go to a prison in Iowa right now.
Yeah.
She said that the white guy, she's like, you're such a privileged white wasp piece of shit, basically.
With only one testicle, right?
You probably only have one ball, and he's like, hey, I've got 2 balls.
Yeah, I was like, please have 2. Like, I don't want her to be that knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Like, she could just tell balls through genes. Like, all right, that's a 1-baller.
She tells Logan that she's Miss Doom and Gloom, and she's a dark cloud that hovers over the class and depresses everybody. And then she says that DeAugust is the golden child, and we all have to suck his dick, lick his balls, and lick his taint because he's so good. And then DeAugust's rebuttal was, I didn't know somebody was sucking my balls. Fucking wow! You couldn't think of something better than that, Mr. Writer? God damn.
Well, I thought it was fine that he was like, I didn't know someone was licking my taint. Like, just kind of like she is just calling people out. Like, he does not need a witty retort to that.
So obviously, this makes the room uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and Hannah is like sitting there, like, what? No one's gonna say anything, and then she kind of is like, all right, well, I guess I made everything awkward with my honesty because I want to be honest and I value honesty. So I'm going to let you all chew on that. And then she leaves, does it like an awkward, quote unquote, comedic exit.
Well, she's sitting in the middle of the couch and she kind of backflips off the back of the couch to get away for like a comedic exit.
Yeah. Well, it also looked like the couch was like on the ground, so it would be hard to get up from. But this,
what do you mean the couch is on the ground?
It looked pretty low to the ground, so it'd be hard to get up.
Yeah, but it would be harder to backflip over the back of it than to get up and walk past.
Absolutely, Vance.
Don't give her a low couch excuse.
In the process of her flipping off the back of the couch, she almost kicks DeAugust in the face, and then she's like crawling on Chandra a little bit, and then she just thuds on the, like, I had my closed captions on, Vance, so
you got all the sound effects.
It literally said thud.
And then they call her Lindsay Lohan or whatever.
Yeah, so like, oh, we got our Lindsay Lohan here. Yeah. It's like, why Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, I wasn't really sure. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't get that full
Did Lindsay
reference.
Lohan? Is that like a Mean Girls thing? I can't remember. Did Lindsay Lohan like call everybody out?
Is that a Mean Girls?
I don't know. That's what
because I was thinking Lindsay Lohan, the person, not Lindsay Lohan, the actor from the role she played in Mean Girls. But
I don't know how this could have related to Lindsay Lohan, the person.
No, not at all. You know, unless she got drunk and called a bunch of writers out. Like, I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to do a bonus episode about Lindsay Lohan's controversy.
No, we will not. You know, no, we're not. I was going to put something out if we get a certain amount of something. I'm like, no, we're not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then Hannah's trying to leave the party. She goes outside. Her bike is stolen.
Great.
Hilarious.
Great.
Somebody broke through 3 locks to steal this. It's probably not a nice bike.
It is funny that her bike is just getting stolen a bunch.
I hope that's just a thing that happens in every episode.
Yeah. Recurring.
She has to buy a new bike every fucking episode.
Mm-hmm.
So then she gets a ride home from, I think who'd they say it was, like Mennonites are in Iowa?
Yeah, it's like they're not
Amish.
Not Amish, they're Mennonites, yeah.
Yeah, so she gets home from, it looks like a nice Mennonite person on a horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah, horse and buggy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I don't know what she's doing in school. Not writing and burning bridges with the few writers that she has.
Right? You think that the critiques were bad at first.
Yeah.
Fucking now that you've just told them all, like, you're all fucking losers and pieces of shit and phonies.
Yeah.
Those critiques aren't going to get any softer, lady.
Yeah.
And for the main event of the evening, we've got my girl, Jessa.
Yeah.
So, as we stated before, she showed her butt. She was talking to Hannah on FaceTime. Hannah asked about Adam, and I was like, why the fuck do any of her friends talk to Adam? Like, why would they? But Jessa actually has a reason to talk to Adam.
Yeah, I was terrible. Like, she was rattling off times that she had talked to him and seen him, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? And then she mentioned AA.
Yeah, she's like, have you talked to Adam? She's like, yeah, I talk to him, once or twice a week. I see him every once in a while. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then she was like, yeah, because we're in AA. We're doing AA together. I was like, oh, thank God.
The relief.
Right? So that's where we pick up with Jessa is she is at AA with Adam. And Adam is basically complaining about how when he talks to Hannah, she doesn't really talk about anything. She talks about a bunch of nothing bullshit. It's nothing real. All she talks about is like, hey, they sell donuts at the movie theater. Isn't that awesome? He's like, what is she going to get out of that from talking to me? What is the point of this? Which good. I understand that argument.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking for the sake of talking, that's not a thing to build a relationship on.
But if you know Lena, or not, if you know Hannah,
yeah,
you know that you're going to have to put up with those conversations. Like, that is what you've signed up for in dating her for so long. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I gotta bring this up because I know that this was, if you've been following this if you're an OG podcast follower of this podcast, the Boys Watching Girls podcast, you'll know that we had a bit of an obsession with Hannah's refrigerator and all of the magnets on it.
Yes.
At this point in the scene, Adam says, do you think Hannah would be pissed if I threw away all of her fridge magnets? I was like, pause, hold the fucking phone, bro.
They're calling it out. Like, I loved it. And Jessa has a line that's actually kind of funny as a reply. It's why she's like, this is why I hate white couples or something, or white relationships or something. White couple relationships.
Yeah. Dude, I wrote down in all caps, Adam wants to throw away the fridge magnets.
Yeah. And we brought this up in the pilot, the first episode in the pilot. They had all these magnets on the fridge. And there's a reason. There's a production reason for it.
Yeah,
but
did we bring that? We've talked about this like several. Like
we brought it up in the first episode, and then we commented on it because then they fixed it up later. There was
wasn't it something like they had all those magnets in there to get the glare from lighting off of it or something?
Yeah, because it was just a bright white fridge bouncing light back. So in the pilot, they just covered it up with magnets. So,
There's that. So Adam wants to chuck them fucking magnets, bro. At this point, some dude sneaks up from behind Jess and like grabs her, gropes her, and he's like, hey, what's up, sweet lady? And she's like, ugh, get away from me. He's like, you want to go outside and smoke? And she's like, no. Here, take a cigarette. Get out of my face. And then Adam's like, what?
It's a big cigarette episode.
Yeah. And Adam's like, what's up with that? She's like, well, I let that guy make out with me. And then he wasn't really feeling all the God stuff that goes along with AA. And so I told him to replace God with my name, Jessa. And so now he looks at me as a God, and I'm the only thing standing between him and relapse. And I was like, God, you suck.
Right? I'm like, and Adam's listening to this in AA, and I'm like, that is so bad. Like, so bad.
Awful, dude.
Yeah.
Awful.
But it gets worse.
So, it gets much worse. So they're walking down the street after this scene's over. The next scene we see them in is they're leaving AA, I'm guessing. Jess is talking about like, hey, it's my 4-month sober She says birthday, and I refuse to say birthday.
She says
They're
sober birthday, yeah.
I'm saying anniversary because it's not a birthday. You weren't birthed.
You don't understand the addiction, Joe, and how when you become sober, you are reborn. Okay?
Oh, that could be. That
Okay,
could
Joe?
be. That could be part of the text.
You straight edge.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
You don't know about being reborn.
I'm just going to keep saying anniversary because I think the birthday shit is douchey.
Okay.
So it's her 4-month sober anniversary. And
Okay,
she's
wait.
like,
So you're gonna be upset about the term birthday, but you can say 4-month anniversary when anniversary means year.
Oh, that's true. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard. See,
Well,
I've heard 6-month anniversary before. Man, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So she's going to celebrate 4 months being sober.
Okay.
And Adam's like, so what are you going to do for your 4 months of being sober? And this is where Jessa kind of got me on her side. Because she said, I don't know, maybe I'll go play laser tag or do bumper cars or something. Those are some very Joe Welke fucking plans.
Those are some very sober person plans.
Dude, laser tag fucking rules. Get out of here, man. I used to like organize huge like laser tag tournaments in my high school, and like a bunch of people came, and I fucking loved it, man. Laser tag's the shit, Vance. I'm gonna invite you. I'm gonna have.
Yeah, I have no problem with laser tag. I'm just saying.
For my birthday, I'm gonna have a laser. If we're allowed to go outside by then, I have a laser tag birthday party, and you better be there.
We've been talking about going bowling for probably like 3 years.
Oh my God, we've never gone bowling.
No. Anyway,
There were a couple times where it was like, "Hey, are you doing anything this weekend?" I've texted you.
there's a
and you're
bowling
like,
alley down the street. We should just go.
I was like, "Are you doing anything this weekend?" And it just so happened you'd be like going to Palm Springs or something. It'd be like you'd be going on a vacation, and I was like, "There was."
That makes it sound like I'm so fancy.
There were at least 2 or 3 times where I texted you like, "What are you up to this weekend? Let's bowl." And then there was like some kind of scheduling conflict.
Yeah, it's called LA. It's called living in LA. Everything being flaky.
Man, we gotta go bowling.
We're not allowed to go outside, Joe.
I know, but I miss bowling. I don't know. I need to go hang out with sober Jessa because she wants to go to laser tag bumper cars.
I don't know if you do.
It might end in. I might end up in prison in Iowa. You know what I'm saying? Fucking murdering her,
or just regular prison.
Yeah,
as this episode shows.
So she's like, I don't know, I might do something. I'm sure you probably have plans, Adam. So I'd invite you if you didn't have plans, but I know that you probably do. It's like, why would you think that? So Adam's like, I mean, that sounds fun. Like if you want, I'll come. And at this point I was like, oh no, do not make this a budding relationship.
Right? They did the classic. They're doing the classic rom-com walk and talk, you know?
Yes. Yeah, hands in pockets, looking down at their feet, like, I don't know. If you're interested, you want to come.
In this scene, they also doesn't Jessa also mention like, "Hey, what's up with that person that you've been seeing or something?"
Yeah,
right. Like it seems like Adam's been hanging out with somebody else. Yeah, they don't really dive too deep into it, but I noted that.
Yeah, she mentions like, hey, how's the lady you've been seeing? You seeing her still? He's like, yeah. And she's like, you seeing her every night? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Being very coy about it.
As if he is seeing someone else, he would have to be coy about it around Jessa of all people. But
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that is talking about, you know. So I'm not gonna jump. I'm not gonna jump because it's Jessa putting her. It could be Jessa putting that sexual slant on something that's not.
Yeah. See, here's the thing is I don't know if Jessa, I feel like, would you trust Jessa to keep a secret? Didn't even finish this. I think that she might just because she knows that it would piss Hannah off. She revels in that. Mm. And then when Hannah's at her weakest is when she'd reveal it.
Yeah, but I think Adam would know that about her. Yeah. And he says as much later.
So at this point, Jessa decides, hey, guess what? I gotta take a piss. And Adam's like, all right. So she goes between two cars in the middle of New York City.
Broad daylight,
Pops a squat, starts peeing
facing
in
the
the middle of the street.
Butt facing the street.
Ass facing the street.
Mm-hmm.
Adam's looking at her like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, it's like, I pee on people in the shower where it's cool.
And not on the street where it's frowned upon.
Yeah. So, lo and behold, of course, who shows up? The 5-0.
The Popo.
Fuzz. The Popo. NYPD's finest.
Yeah.
Roll by, Adam goes, oh boy, it's the cops. Wrap it up, put a plug in it. And then she starts to pull her pants up, and the cops are like, are you fucking serious right now? You can't just pee in the street. And then they write her a ticket, and she's like, are you kidding me? Come on, don't write me a fucking ticket because I'm peeing in the street. And they're like, we're definitely writing you a ticket, dude.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I've heard this a lot from dudes, but isn't it if you get caught peeing in public, it goes on your record and then you are then considered a sex offender?
That is some stuff that could happen, like if you're peeing near school or something like that. I've peed outside in New York.
Oh, I pee out. I have shit outside.
I've been written up for it from like cops once. It was we were coming out of some bar in like the West Village, and like I was like, hey buddy, I'm gonna go back inside. He's like, no dude, there's an alley over here, let's go. I'm like, why are we? I was like, fine, whatever, because he's giving us a ride back to Jersey. So then we like go, we pee, and then we come out, and like this unmarked car of cops just come out. Hey guys, we're writing you up. We're like, what? And I was just like, buddy, we could have just gone back into the bar.
How much was the ticket for it? Do you remember?
I think it was like show up at court. I think it just like it wasn't anything. Like I was surprised when they told Jessa that was like just straight up $50 and no like court appearance, no anything. I don't think we ever did.
I thought they said
anything,
it's a summons. It's a summons.
Yeah, normally it's a summons and you can go in and like.
Well, they said that. They said
wait.
that in the apps. They said that to Jessa.
They said it was like $50, right? They said it was like $50. I don't know if they tell you exactly how much it is, and $50, just take that and walk away, Jessa. Like you've lost.
Yeah,
you know?
Jessa did not. She refused to take that and walk away. She starts complaining about like, why don't you tell it to my gynecologist when I get a UTI from holding it in? Why don't you blame the fucking city for not having enough bathrooms for women to take a piss in? And Adam this whole time is like, Jessa, stop.
She pulled
chill.
a real Karen right there.
Yeah. So she takes the ticket from the cop, rips it up in his face, starts walking away. And then the cop is like, you just made a huge mistake. They put cuffs on her. Mm-hmm. She's then resisting arrest and like yelling and screaming like, you're hurting me. You're hurting me. Yeah. At this point, Adam turns into fucking Lenny from Of Mice and Men. He's like, you're hurting her. Stop hurting her. And then fucking runs at the cops. Yeah. Starts to like, I don't know. It's like he's with cops, you know that they're going to be like, he assaulted me.
Well,
you know?
here's the thing, because it's like, all right, there's a black cop and a white cop, right? They're doing their job exactly the way they need to do their job, right? Like, she's peeing. They're gonna like write her a ticket. It's fine. It is over. Jessa escalates the thing by ripping the ticket up in front of their face, trying to walk off. They go to handcuff her because they're gonna bring her downtown or whatever. Then she starts claiming that they're like hurting her by putting the handcuffs on, which handcuffs probably hurt. I don't know. Like, whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
So
I'm a good boy.
Taking shits outside.
Hey, never been caught though.
And then Adam like kind of rushes over, and Adam's a big dude, right? Like, and
Adam's bigger than both of these cops.
Yeah. And then they just like push him back, and they're like, hey, and then they like start arresting him. This is like something they can only do as white people. Like,
I was gonna say, if like, these characters were black,
like
dead.
Like that amount of like ripping a ticket up, marching off, laying hands on the cop. Like this is all just like exactly what.
Yeah.
And like Adam even did something like this before when we have an episode where she's getting called in, like when he starts being a stalker to Hannah in that episode, and she calls the cops on him, and he's just being like, whatever, talking back to the cops, like that kind of thing is just something. It's a privilege that people of my skin tone would love to have with knowing that we're just going to go to jail and be offered bail.
Person of color in that situation, at the least tased.
I mean, that would be great. That would be a great outcome for that situation.
Yeah.
And also, I'd be like, that person would never speak to Jessa again.
Oh.
If the person of color was Adam, and that was going down, you're like, nah.
Oh yeah. So anyway, then we see Ray at Ray's Coffee. Ray Polshansky gets a phone call. He's like, "What? What happened? Both of them?" So Ray goes down to jail to bail these two out. And he gives them a talking to. He's like, "You're both irresponsible people. Like, you should not be resisting arrest. You shouldn't be pissing in the streets. Like, what kind of fucking savages are you two? Like, what's the matter with you? And you both owe me $3,000.
Yeah.
And then he walks away. He's going like, $3,000. Dude, Ray fucking rules.
I mean, he's the elder statesman of this group. He's like the voice of reason. Like, he's the person they call to bail him out. Like, who else is going to be able to do it? Like,
right, dude? Like, that's awesome. Number one, they call him, and he does it.
Yeah.
What? Like, who the fuck are these two to Ray? You know?
Adam, I feel like he has a little more, like, sympathy towards just because of, like, he's living in his old place, and he stayed with them for a while. So, like, they have a little bro bond that which is something Ray really wants. He likes having that, like, because he lost Charlie,
True.
So, but yeah, with Jessa, he probably, I don't know, he talks to Jessa at times or early on in this show, but yeah.
I guess. But I loved that stern talk. I wish that he didn't, like, his language, his vernacular is very weird. They called him cretins.
Oh, well, he uses very, like, I read books.
Yeah. It's like, dude, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay, just call them assholes because they're being a bunch of fucking assholes.
No, I like Ray's like deep.
So Ray walks away, and then Jess is like, "Man, I fucking hate pigs. I hate the cops, the fuzz." And then Adam just looks at her and is like, "Whatever, I'm leaving."
Well, she says, "Oh, that was just stop and frisk," which is huge. Thing, huge issue in New York at the time where you were just able to like stop black people and just like it was literally just a law in place that allowed cops to just harass people.
You were allowed to do it. You were allowed to do it to quote unquote anybody, but the people that were getting it were minorities.
And it's a problem when someone like Jessa does that,
Yes.
And remember when she's getting arrested? Adam's like, "Oh no, she's foreign. She doesn't know."
Yeah.
Also, like,
what fucking? She's British. Are they allowed to piss in the street in England?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
She speaks English as her first language. It's fine.
Yeah. So anyway,
but when the stop and frisk line, it was another one where I was like, "Jess, you suck. Like you were in the wrong, and now you're just yeah."
So Adam starts walking away, and then Jess is like, "So what you up to? What are you doing?" And Adam turns around, and he's like, "I'm not doing this with you." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "You are a bad influence. I saw you do this with Hannah, and I had sympathy for you because I knew that you had a problem, but you're sober now. Like, you can't be doing this shit, and I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to be friends with you if this is how you are, because you're a real piece of shit," basically, paraphrasing. And he's like, "I don't need any more friends. I don't need you in my life. So I don't need you. Bye." And he starts walking away. And then Jess is like, "Oh, so you're cool with having no friends then?" Which, like, what a fucking...
Well, Shoshanna has even called him out on that. And so it's so interesting that they've called out Adam not having friends so many times. Like, Hannah has done it. Only person that hasn't done it is Marnie, I feel like.
Yeah, but it's also weird because Adam has a bunch of friends. He has got Taco.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah,
He's friends with Desi.
I don't know if he's still friends with Desi because we haven't seen the two of them together.
He's friends with Ray. Ray just fucking bailed him out.
Yeah.
Dude, he's got friends.
Whatever, he's fine. It's just a hurtful kind of thing to say.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that she was just like, I'm going to try and get a reaction out of him.
Mm-hmm. And then it flips immediately.
Yeah, and then he's like, yeah, sure, whatever, and he keeps walking away. Also, the weirdest walk in television history.
It reminded me of him walking away from Ray in that Boys episode when he just like turns, leaves the dog, and he just walks away. Because he doesn't like walk away with any kind of like malice or like attitude. It's just like, all right, I'm going this direction that is opposite of you.
It looks like he has something wrong. Like he has a limp or something.
It seems like he has like one bow leg a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Something, maybe that he has something up with one of his legs. Because like his walk, his stride is very weird. Mm-hmm. Welcome to Stride Talk with Joe and Vance.
He's such a unique character and person and actor. Like I just...
Yeah. So at this point, Jessa says, Adam, please, I need you as a friend. I don't have any friends. I need you as a friend. And Adam turns around and he's like, oh, fine. Basically, Jessa begs him to be friends. And that is where that ends up. And I hate it. I don't want them to be friends.
I did not like him turning around. I loved him saying, no, you're doing this stuff sober, and you were doing it, and you're just you're a bad influence. Like, and she is. Like, she has never, like everything she did in this episode is like bad. Like what she did with the guy that she slept with, and then now is like taking advantage of his addiction almost for her purpose. You know, then. Obviously, she wants him to go celebrate her like 4-year sober or 4-month sober thing. But then she just pees in the street, gets him arrested. Like it's just so much stuff that you're like, I need that little kernel that's not just like abandonment issues from Marnie and Jessa to be like, well, they were abandoned, so they can continually keep doing these mistakes and doing these things that put other people's lives in jeopardy. Like if he doesn't get bailed out and Adam has an audition the next day, like Adam already has some like records on this, you know, and just stuff like that where I'm like, okay, I get it. You want us to feel bad for Jessa. You want us to feel bad for Marnie. But when they don't have that little kernel of redeeming quality, it makes me think about something I heard about The Office, like the first season of the U.S. Office, where like Michael Scott's character was just like such a bad boss and like annoying, and then they were like, this show can't last unless we like at least end an episode with something that makes you feel like, oh, he is a person, and even though he does all these dumb things, you know, he has vulnerabilities, mistakes, he has a good heart. Like, you know, like they throw enough stuff in there that you watch him do awful things, but you still care about him.
Yeah.
And they just haven't thrown enough in for Jessa to care about. Like, I know her dad kind of abandoned her, but then she goes and abandons Hannah. And that's not a one-to-one where I'm like, oh, I get it. That's cool. Leave your friend. I should forgive that because your dad left one day. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And we don't even have the alcohol drug abuse kind of thing either, where it's like, oh, well, she has problems because she's addicted, and it's like, no, she's sober and she's still doing this. Like, she is her. Yeah.
I mean, I got 2 points about what you were saying is so Adam calls her a bad influence, and she's like, you're an adult man, like how can I influence you? Like, and I thought that was like a great Jessa line. But still, but in terms of like talking about The Office, like not only was Michael just an insensitive, just rude prick during the first season, but like you never see any hints of him being good at his job. Yeah, it wasn't until like the second season where you get there's an episode where he sells Tim Meadows something. Yeah, because was her name Janet?
Jan. Yeah, they go to like a Chili's for this like meeting, and he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be all day," and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And they go there, and then they just get like drunk, and like it looks like Michael's being a complete Like,
Yeah, he's not worried about talking shop at all.
Yeah,
and Jan is like, we need to fucking sell this paper. And Michael's kind of like, take it easy. I got this.
Yeah.
And you get to see why Michael is like such a great salesman and how he got into the position that he got into.
He is a good salesman. Like, if he is just doing sales, he is great. And he got his job because he's great at sales. And
doesn't necessarily make him a good leader.
Doesn't make him a good leader, but you understand that there's a little bit of method to the madness, you know? And and that was enough to like be like, oh, okay. All right, he's not a complete buffoon.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I thought that episode was great because so far up until that point on The Office, you've just seen him being an ass. And then to see him like, no, I got this. This is how it's done. And then like to prove another person that you think has control wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand how this world works, you know? And we don't have that at all with Jessa.
I thought we were going to get that with Jessa with her and BD. I thought we were going to learn a lot from her working with BD and BD talking about her life because she was like much older and probably lived a life almost similar to Jessa's. So she was going to be like, hey, I know what you're going. Like, I thought there was a lot of stuff that they could have plumbed right there.
Yeah, there was a lot of potential, and then then like one episode later, Jessa's trying to kill her.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, it was like, this is a place where Jessa can hunker down and we can finally get it. Because we even have the Catherine Hahn in like the first season where she's like, hey, I kind of want to help you out. And I'm like, give me Jessa with some type of a female mentor that's older and has lived a life, you know? Like, because she can't learn anything from the girls.
There's like all of these like little hints of like, oh, this is where Jess is going to turn it around. And then she like just never does. And she'll burn a bridge with the person that's trying to help her.
Yeah. And that's like, we don't know. We don't know if this was going to happen with Adam and her, if Adam will be that like positive influence right now. But I'm just worried that she'll be the negative influence on Adam more so than positive on her.
I so don't want those two to hook up at all. And that's what I thought was happening when they were doing that right before Jessa peed.
Yeah.
Right when Adam was like, I'll come to your laser tag party. I was like, do not fucking do this.
Yeah.
Do not do this.
Yeah. So it's a little scary. We're in scary territory right now. Hannah, come back from Iowa, please.
But the question is, did you like this episode?
Was it
a good episode?
I give it like a 7 or 8. I kind of like this episode.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's stuff happening. There's stuff that I don't like happening. Like the characters suck.
Yeah.
Everyone did shitty things again, except for Shoshanna.
Shoshanna kind of did a shitty thing by telling.
She did a shitty thing.
Don't tell the boss. Like, it's one thing to say. Don't openly say, "Oh, your company's dumb. I hate what you do." Like,
basically, you could have been like, "Oh, I got another job offer," and then just blow them off.
Or just be like, "Oh yeah, well, I'm really considering it. I have a couple other places too that I'm looking at, but you interview these other people, and like, let's check back in too." It's like, I work as a freelancer a bunch, so like, I always have to send emails like that.
Yeah, dude, be a bit more diplomatic, you know. Yeah. I mean, but of the shitty things that are being done, I feel like Shoshanna's was the least shitty.
All right, should we do a quick girls ranking then on this?
Quick tiny rankings?
Tiny ranking,
Shoshana number 1, Hannah number 2, Marnie 3, Jessa 4.
I almost can't argue. I'm wondering if Marnie swaps with Hannah.
See, Hannah just hurt people with her words. Marnie's hurting people with her body and
who is she hurting with her body? Ray wanted that.
She's hurting Clementine. She also fucked over herself and Desi with like being awkward at the record thing. But potentially.
But that's just hurting herself. And who do you care that she hurts Desi there?
Yeah, I don't. I don't like Desi like at all.
I kind of like. I understand where Hannah's coming from mentally, state-wise, but like this is twice in like maybe 3 or 4 episodes that she just called out a room full of writers. Yeah. Where I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, you burned bridges, got to grad school, and then burned bridges again?
She must have saw like that episode, the beach house episode with Shoshanna, just like lambasting people. She's like, "Oh, that looks like fun. I'm gonna start doing that."
What is it? Why the truth is fun or something? Honesty is fun. Being honest is fun.
There's a lot of talk about honesty in this episode, though, where Hannah's like, I care about honesty after she like trashes everybody. Shoshana was like, I care about honesty.
Yep.
Marnie is like having dilemmas with honesty, you know, and but Jessa doesn't fit into that narrative really at all.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I need a friend, I guess.
Yeah.
The theme of this episode is
admitting
honesty.
her she's lonely, I guess, but it's like, all right, we know. Stop. You wouldn't be lonely if you weren't doing the things you're doing.
Exactly. You wouldn't be lonely if you were likable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the episode, everybody. That was Female Author. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is titled Cubbies.
Like,
who knows? Like
kindergarten,
like kindergarten cubbies, I guess. Unless they go to a zoo and they see some cubs, bear cubs. And they're like, "Oh, look at the cubbies."
Someone's a Chicago Cubs fan and doesn't know how to be. It calls them Cubs.
Dude, my friend is a Chicago Cubs fan, and she named her dog Cubby.
All right, that's what this episode is about. It's
about my friend Sammy's dog named Cubby. All right, guys, thanks for listening. See ya.
You think it's fine if I throw out all of Hannah's refrigerator magnets?
This whole thing is why I hate relationships between white people.